There's a strange thing that happens at certain dinner tables, certain airport lounges, certain gallery openings. A woman walks in wearing sunglasses that cost $40 and one wearing sunglasses that cost $400, and somehow before either says a word, the room has already decided which one runs something. Nobody can quite explain why. They just know. And once you understand what they're actually reading, you'll never look at a pair of sunglasses the same way again. Eyewear is the fastest read accessory on the human body. Faster than a handbag, faster than a watch, faster than shoes. It sits at eye level, framed by the face, in the exact spot where people look first before they even register the rest of the outfit. Which means it either confirms everything else you're wearing or it quietly undoes it. A perfectly tailored coat can be dismantled in half a second by the wrong pair of sunglasses, and a simple linen dress can be elevated the same way by the right one. This isn't about spending more. Some of the most expensive-looking frames in the world cost less than a dinner out, and some of the most expensive ones in dollar terms photograph like a costume shop. What separates them is a set of decisions, small and specific, that most women have never had named for them. Today 6 codes. The ones the most photographed women over 50 follow without ever discussing them out loud. The kind Grace Kelly understood instinctively decades before quiet luxury became a phrase anyone used. Code 1: Frame weight over frame size. Picture 2 women standing at the same cafe counter. Both are wearing cream linen, both have their hair pulled back, both are holding a coffee the same way. One is wearing thin, flimsy plastic frames that catch the light strangely. The other is wearing a frame with real substance, acetate that has weight to it, hinges that don't flex when she moves. Even from across the room, one reads as considered. The other reads as an afterthought. The secret is in 3 details. First, acetate thickness. A frame with at least a few millimeters of visible material at the temple, not a wire-thin outline. Second, hinge quality, barrel hinges that sit flush, no visible plastic screws or loose joints. Third, weight distribution. The frame should feel balanced on the face, not sliding down the nose within the hour. A cheap frame photographs cheap even in soft light. A well-built one photographs the same way in a parking lot as it does in Positano. How to apply it? A tortoiseshell acetate frame with a rounded cat-eye shape, worn with a simple white shirt and gold hoops. Nothing else needs to work hard. Even without consciously registering why, people assume the woman wearing it chose it rather than simply grabbed it. There's a reason luxury eyewear houses in Milan still cut their acetate by hand rather than injection molding it in one pass. The material behaves differently under light when it has real density, catching a warmer, richer reflection instead of a flat plastic sheen. You don't need the house name on the inside of the temple to get that effect. You need to know what you're feeling for when you try a frame on, and now you do. And the next code is one most women get backwards entirely because they think bigger means bolder. Code 2: Lens tint discipline. There's a particular kind of woman who owns 12 pairs of sunglasses in 6 different tints, and somehow none of them read as expensive. The problem was never the frame. It was the color underneath it. 3 details separate the tint that reads as luxury from the tint that reads as costume. First, tonal consistency, a single tint family across your collection, whether that's brown-based or gray-based, never both fighting each other in the same wardrobe. Second, gradient over flat, a lens that's slightly darker at the top and lighter toward the bottom photographs as intentional, where a flat, uniform tint often reads as a drugstore purchase. Third, never fully opaque black. True old money eyewear rarely goes fully mirrored or fully black. It keeps a hint of warmth so the eyes are shielded, not erased. In practice, a warm brown gradient lens with a classic aviator or oversized round shape, worn with camel or navy. The tint does something quiet. It makes the whole outfit feel like it was assembled by someone with a system, not someone reaching for whatever was in the drawer. Think of it the way a photographer thinks about color grading a film. Every frame in a well-shot movie shares the same undertone, so nothing pulls your eye away from what matters. Your eyewear collection works the same way. The moment you introduce a rogue blue-tinted lens into a wardrobe built on warm neutrals, something in the composition breaks, even if nobody watching could tell you exactly what. There's a third code that has nothing to do with the sunglasses themselves, and it's the one stylists notice before anything else. Code 3: The case tells on you. Imagine 2 women pulling their sunglasses out of a bag at the same lunch. One reaches into her purse and pulls the glasses out loose, a small scratch already visible on one lens. The other opens a structured hard case and the glasses come out exactly as they went in. The 3 details worth knowing. First, a rigid case, not a soft pouch. It signals the accessory is treated as an investment, not a disposable. Second, a case in a coordinating neutral black, tan, or tortoise, never a mismatched novelty print. Third, visible care, no scratches, no bent arms, no loose screws, because wear tells people exactly how much you value the things you own. The application is simple. Keep the case in your bag, not the glove compartment of your car, and let people see it when you put your sunglasses away rather than shoving them into a pocket. It's a 5-second moment and it registers. This is the detail that has nothing to do with money and everything to do with habit. A frame that costs very little, cared for like it's irreplaceable, will outlast and outphotograph a frame that costs a great deal and gets tossed loose into the bottom of a tote bag between cafe stops and school pickups. Care is a signal all on its own, independent of the receipt. Now the code that changes the most and surprises people who assume expensive means dramatic. Code 4, understated overstatement. There's a version of eyewear that shouts, oversized, crystal embellished, logo along the temple in gold letters. And there's a version that simply exists beautifully without asking to be noticed. The second version is the one that reads as wealth that's been around for decades rather than wealth trying to prove itself this year. The 3 markers. First, no visible branding on the outside of the frame. Logos, if they exist at all, live discreetly inside the temple. Second, classic silhouettes over trend shapes. A rounded cat eye or a clean aviator outlasts whatever shape is trending on a given season. Third, restraint in embellishment, no rhinestones, no oversized hardware, no anything that competes with the face rather than framing it. Worn in practice. A plain tortoise shell or black frame with a linen blazer and minimal jewelry. Nothing shouts, and somehow that's exactly why people lean in. This is the code that confuses women who came up believing more visible logo meant more visible success. It's the opposite now, and honestly, it always was among the women who actually had generational money rather than a first paycheck to prove something with. The families who've had money the longest wear the fewest logos. That's not an accident, and it isn't new. Fifth, and this is the one most women never think to check. Code 5, proportion to face shape. 2 women, same taste, same wardrobe budget. One wears a frame that's slightly too small for her face, the classic mistake of buying what looked good on someone else. The other wears a frame proportioned correctly, and instantly looks like she's worked with a stylist, even if she's never once been to one. The details. First, the frame width should match your face width at the temples, not narrower. Second, the brow line of the glasses should roughly follow your natural brow line, not sit noticeably above or below it. Third, 4 rounder faces. Angular frames create balance. For more angular faces, rounder frames soften. This isn't about hiding anything. It's about proportion doing what proportion does. Applied simply, try the frame on and check the width first before you check the color or the shape. Everything else can be beautiful and still look wrong if the proportion is off. Most women shop for sunglasses the way they'd shop for a photograph they liked online, chasing a shape they saw on someone else entirely. But a frame is architecture built around your specific bone structure, not a filter you apply afterward. The women who always seem to have the one perfect pair aren't luckier. They simply started with proportion and let everything else follow from there. And the final code, the one that ties every other detail together. Code 6, how you handle them off your face. This is the detail almost nobody talks about, and it's the one that separates women who look like they were born into this world from women who are still performing it. It isn't the sunglasses at all. It's what happens the moment they come off. 3 things to notice. First, glasses come off and go either on top of the head, pushed back cleanly, or straight into the case, never dangling from a shirt collar by one arm. Second, when folded, both arms fold in the same clean motion, not tossed carelessly onto a table. Third, sunglasses are never worn indoors as a styling accessory pushed up on the forehead for the entire evening. They're worn outside, removed inside, every time without exception. This is the moment stylists study more than any other, because it can't be rehearsed the way an outfit can. It happens in half a second walking through a restaurant door, and it either looks like second nature or it looks like effort. The good news is that it's the easiest code of the 6 to master, because it costs nothing and takes no shopping at all. It simply takes noticing starting today every single time you take them off. Put this all together and it stops being about 6 separate accessories and becomes one coherent signal. Frame, weight, lens, tint, the case, restraint, proportion, and the quiet choreography of putting them on and taking them off. None of it requires a European atelier or a four-figure receipt. It requires attention, the kind that says this woman notices details, and if she notices these, she notices everything. At 50, you already carry something most 20-somethings are still hunting for. Presence. The kind that doesn't need volume to be felt across a room. Elegance was never about age. It was always about intention, and at this point in your life, you've had decades to refine exactly what that means for you. Which of these 6 codes are you already following without realizing it? And which one are you adding to your routine this week? Tell me in the comments. And subscribe for weekly style codes made specifically for women who'd rather be quietly noticed than loudly seen.